In this video, we're going to be taking a look at what's needed to fly your drone safely and legally within the UK. We'll not be able to cover every detail of the new drone regulations within this short video, but we aim to give you an overview and an insight into what rules you have to adhere to and point you in the right direction if you want to take your drone flying further than just a hobby. As of January 2021, all drones that weigh over 250 grams must be registered. To register your drone, you must obtain both a flyer ID and an operator ID from the CAA. The types of flying you do with your drone are known as operations. There are different categories of operations, and these categories determine things like where you can fly and how close to people and crowds you can fly. The four categories that we need to be aware of are Open A1 and A3, basic low risk flying, Open A2, which is more risk than A1 and A3, Specific, which is moderate risk flying, and Certified, which is high risk flying. The Flyer ID allows you to fly in the Open A1 and A3 subcategories, which is the starting point for anyone wanting to fly a drone in the UK. How close you can fly to people, crowds and built up areas is determined by a list of regulations that will differ for each category. For the purpose of this video, we'll be looking mainly at the open categories and what you can and can't do within these regulations. These regulations are known as the drone code, and the content makes up the questions included in the theory test to gain your Flyer ID. First of all, you're responsible for flying safely whenever you fly. Follow this code to make sure you never put people in danger. Always be ready in case something should go wrong with your drone. You could be fined for breaking the law when flying your drone or model aircraft. In the most serious cases, you could be sent to prison. Always keep your drone in direct line of sight and make sure you have full view of the surrounding airspace. You must be sure that you can spot any nearby hazards in the air or on the ground and avoid any collisions. You must be able to see your drone without using binoculars, a telephoto lens, or any electronic viewing equipment such as a smartphone, tablet, or video goggles. Normal glasses and contact lenses are fine. You can ask somebody to be your observer or a spotter when you fly. They must stand next to you and you must be able to talk to each other at all times. One of you must be able to keep your drone in direct line of sight and have a full view of the surrounding airspace at all times. The observer or spotter does not need to have a Flyer ID, but you must tell them what to look out for. Remember, you're still responsible for keeping the flight safe. Always fly below 120 metres or 400 feet. This will reduce the risk of coming across other aircraft which normally fly higher than this. Always look and listen out for other aircraft that may be flying below 120 metres or 400 feet, such as air ambulances or police helicopters. Your drone must never be more than 120 metres or 400 feet from the closest point of the Earth's surface. Do not fly closer to people than 50 metres. This includes people in buildings and transport, including cars, lorries, trains and boats. You must keep a minimum horizontal distance of 50 metres between your drone and people. This creates a no-fly zone around the people that goes all the way up to the legal height limit. It can help to think of this no-fly zone as a cylinder. You must not fly over people in this no-fly zone, even if you fly higher than 50 metres. Sometimes you'll need to increase the 50 metre minimum distance from people to make sure your flight remains safe. Follow these general rules. If you fly higher than 50 metres, you should keep the same distance horizontally. For example, keep 80 metres away if you fly at a height of 80 metres. If poor weather conditions mean that there could be a greater risk to people, fly further away from them. For example, if it's very windy, you should fly further away from people and crowds. Never fly over people who are crowded together. A crowd is any group of people who cannot move away quickly because of the number of people around them. Never do this, no matter what size of drone you have. Examples of places where people are often crowded together include, but are not limited to, shopping areas, sports events, music festivals, and a beach or a park. Keep at least 150 metres away from residential, recreational, commercial and industrial areas. Be prepared to increase the distance if you need to keep the flight safe. Stay well away from airports, airfields and aircraft. Most airports and airfields have a flight restriction zone known as an FRZ. Never fly in this zone unless you have permission from the airport. The DroneSafe website gives details of airfield restrictions and more information on getting permission from air traffic control. Some drone apps also give details of flight restriction zones. Moving on to NOTAMs, Notices to Airmen. NOTAMs are official notices that tell people about activities that may be hazardous to flying, for example, a balloon show or RAF training. Many drone apps include details of NOTAMs. You can also find NOTAMs at the NATS drone website. And finally, privacy. Respect other people and their privacy. If your drone is fitted with a camera or listening device, you must respect people's privacy wherever you use them. If you use these devices where people can expect privacy, such as inside their home or garden, you are likely to be breaking data protection laws. This code covers flying in the open A1 and A3 categories. If you fly outside of these rules in this code, you may need special authorization, further licenses or permissions. The A2 Certificate of Competency will cover 90% of the flights you're trying to achieve as a new pilot. If you're wanting to use a heavier drone with a cinema camera or work for larger organisations, you may need a qualification known as a GVC.